Okay, thank you everybody for coming tonight. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to share some thoughts with you. And just as a reminder, next Thursday, there's going to be Rabbi Becher, the famous Rabbi Mordechai Becher, world-known speaker, who is going to speak. The topic is I'm not sure yet what it's going to be, but he is always amazing, so it'll be interesting. Okay, so today we're going to discuss a little bit the meaning of life, right? Finding a meaning in life, a Kabbalistic perspective. Now, I know some of you might have heard some of those questions. I usually go through some of the questions. Those questions are fundamentals to our lives. And unless one thinks of them and finds an answer, he's going to be a little bit, I'll say, lost. One of the most important things in Judaism is to have definitions about what things are. Have definitions of love, definitions of God, definitions of human being. And through my teaching and my research in Judaism, because I didn't grow up religious, I grew up secular, and then I find, as I was searching for meaning in life, Judaism was the place where I find the best answers, the most logical and rational answers to my questions. And so some of them I want to share with you. And you're going to see that there's a lot of misconception within Judaism itself, within the religious world too. So I want to try to remove those misconceptions and have a clear picture about what a Jew is and what are we supposed to be doing here in this world. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask, but at the end we'll have a question and answer session. You can ask any questions on absolutely any topic. I'll try to answer them if I can. So without further ado, let's start. So the first question that is the most important maybe of all is, what is the purpose of creation? Right? It's a question that kind of everybody asks, and a lot of people actually are scared of finding the answer, and they just go through life without trying to answer it. They think a little bit about it, but they just, it's too big of a question. The problem with that is that if really there is a creator, right, and he created the world, it's like you have a computer, someone makes a computer, obviously the computer needs to serve some purpose. Why would someone create a computer for no reason? Okay, and the computer is technology of a computer is incredible. So if you want to try to understand how the computer works, you need to find a manual. So there has to be a manual, right? If God created the world, and the world is fantastic and perfect, we have to understand how it works, what's its purpose. It's like you have a guy coming to a computer and he makes a few clicks there and there. You say, oh wow, it's amazing. But it's not so good. He doesn't realize that he can do 1,000 more things on the computer. Obviously you have to go deeper into it. Find the manual, find how it works. So that's a little bit what we're doing here tonight. Find how our world, which I like to call the Matrix, for those who saw the Matrix, works. So, what is the purpose of creation? Anybody has some, answers that he wants to try to share? Please, feel free.
Something is better than nothing.
Something
is better than nothing.
That the purpose of creation is to have something, so that because it's better to have nothing. Okay. Food for thought. Yes? Continuation. Okay.
Continuation of a process.
Of a process. Okay. So we have to find what process is and then the continuation of that process. Okay. What else? Don't be scared. Torah is fire. You have to be on fire. Who is on fire tonight? Woo! Okay. Right. So, So you're going to find different answers, some people want to say beauty, or it's a process, all that. But we have to really to try to find the actual goal. Where, okay, there's a process, there's a continuation, there is something. But what are we really trying to achieve through all that? Why that whole process? Why did God made that whole system? And the answer that is misunderstood, I think, and there's a big misconception in Judaism itself, if within the religious world too, is that they think that Judaism is just to do the purpose of creation is to do the will of God. Well, it's partially true, but it's not entirely true. Why do we need to do the will of God? Why does God want us to do His will?
Well, this is an unanswerable question, because we don't know what on God's mind.
Okay, that's a very good answer.
Our job is to do our
Right. But the thing is that if God created this world, right, He created the computer, He has to let the manual to let us know where it is. What sense would make that someone creates something amazing and then he leaves and never comes back to explain what's that machine for? Right? Yes.
I think God created the world so He can give, and we need to listen to Him so we can get the most out of life.
Okay. So now let me push it deeper. You're coming close. Why do we want to give? What do we get from the giving?
He wanted to give because He doesn't need anything from us.
Okay, that's true. So what's our place in that picture?
To enjoy it.
Ah, good, very good. Yes, the main answer, that's the Ramchal in Sesharim says, the purpose of our creation is to have pleasure. Anybody interested?
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Right. Well, you would think so, but I see people not really searching for pleasure. So you have to try to understand. It's a misconception. A lot of people think more the Christian way, because society says that pleasure is dangerous. Pleasure is bad, right? Don't get involved in too much pleasure because it's unholy, it's impure. So we have to try to determine like what's really pleasure all about, and how can we connect to it in a healthy way. So but the first thing we have to understand is that's what God wants. God wants us to achieve the highest possible pleasure. We are here on earth, ladies and gentlemen, to achieve the highest possible pleasure. So, and you have a few places in the Tanakh where it says that. In the Tehillim it says, taste and see that God is good. A second thing, it says that in Mishle, right, speaking about the Torah, shalom. All the ways of the Torah are pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. So, okay, so the Torah is telling us that we have to try to taste the pleasure of life. And that pleasure, what is that pleasure? That pleasure is God Himself. Like you said, God created the world to give good to another. What's good is pleasure, and God is good. So therefore the pleasure is God Himself, right? That would be the ultimate thing. Again, God didn't create the world to make us into robots and just do His will. Okay, I'm here, I do a mitzvah, and then I do that feeling, and then okay. God doesn't need that. He doesn't need robots. He wants human beings who have experiences, emotions, and feelings, and who tries to grasp the strongest feelings. Now, if you think of the big tzaddik, what we call the tzaddik, the super religious guy, the fanatic. Maybe not the fanatic you have in mind when you look at, whatever, Hasidim or whoever you have in mind who a tzaddik is. But a tzaddik, which we call a just, which means just in Hebrew, a tzaddik is someone who experiences the pleasure of being close to Hashem all the time. So if you look at his life, it might be a little bit scary. You think, oh, he doesn't eat so much, he doesn't sleep so much, oh, he's learning so much Torah, or he's meditating for so long. Like it sounds a little bit extreme to at least to us that we're not used to that. It sounds like, wow, that guy is not really enjoying life. He's like so focused on those things. Well, This because we look at it from the outside. If you will go in that person's, in that tzaddik, and try to feel what's inside, that guy is in heaven. He's on the high all the time. Forget about the drugs, forget about the alcohol, forget about all the lowly pleasure of this life. He's inside. He has so much pleasure that all the distraction of this world will diminish the pleasure he already has. Because he's so close to God, he doesn't want to disconnect from it. Right? So you have to understand that God is the best and highest possible drug you can have. So instead of running to smoke marijuana or stuff like that, go connect to God. You'll get something even deeper, and there is no falling down. It just usually goes just more and more up, and there's no after effect. I've tried it. Okay. So Rabbi Ari Kaplan, a very famous rabbi who passed away in the past century, he says that the goal of halakha, the goal of the laws in Judaism, is to attain a high. God wants us to rise above the ground and achieve a level where you are feeling in a different world. That's a little bit when we start speaking about Kabbala. What's Kabbala? That's when you start understanding that this world is not just the physical experience you have, but there are other experiences you can achieve connected to the spiritual world. Once you detach yourself a bit from physicality, you enter the spiritual world, you understand that, whoa, this is really pleasurable. That's much more intense, right? It's people are looking for that unconsciously. Why? Let me ask you. Why are we always looking to go to places like Six Flags, like roller coaster and skydiving and extreme sport? Because people want to feel, intensity. They want to feel alive. Well, it's like, whoa, you just paid like $50 just to have right? It's like, what's wrong with you? No, you don't understand. Why does he get through that thrill, through that thing? He gets a feeling, a type of pleasure, a kind of adrenaline, a fear, but a fear that is pleasurable, right? And that fear that is pleasurable, it's to teach you about the fear of God. That the fear of God, the presence of God, the intensity of, wow. That's the idea of being in awe of God. I come in front of God and you're in an experience like you're on the top of the roller coaster and you're like, right? So that's what you're supposed to feel when you start praying. You make through it, right? You start praying, you're like, it's just in front of God. So all those things, everything you experience in life, you have always to remember all the feelings and pleasure you experience in life are all here to give you a taste of what it is you can experience with God. Okay? There's nothing that happens for no reason. Why do I, like brushing my teeth? Why do I like to take a shower? Why do people like to go to the bathroom? Why do people like to eat? Why do people like to sleep? All those questions are fundamental questions. And we go through it every day. We're so used to it and we just, that's life, But all those things have a specific purpose. God could have created us without the need to sleep. God could have created us without the need to eat. And you are created without the pleasure for that. So why God wants us to have those pleasures? So that's the questions that we have constantly to ask. Why do we have those pleasures, and what God is teaching us through those pleasures? Now, the first thing we have to understand, I spend a little bit more time on that specific topic because it's really the most fundamental. Once you understand that Judaism, all what Judaism is trying to do is not to make you into a religious fanatic. Judaism, the Torah, is only trying to help you achieve the highest possible pleasure in every areas of life. And if someone understands that, he understands religion in a completely different way. I'm not here to try to become religious just to follow laws. No, I'm here to try to enjoy life to its maximum. If I understand that, then it's pleasurable. It's not just laws. It's not just rules. It becomes an amazing experience of life. So the first thing we have to understand is pleasure gives you energy, right? Someone who has pleasure, he's full of energy. So now I want you to take your glasses of imagination. Everybody has his 3D glasses, 4D actually, 4D glasses. Now we have those screens with 4D. Yeah, why did God create 3-dimension TVs and everything now? It's very interesting. Soon we'll put the 4-dimension glasses, we'll see the angels around you and all that. It's super cool. Okay, That's when you're on a high spiritual level. But, right, we have to look at life a bit a different way. That's when Kabbalah enters. Kabbalah teaches you basically that everything is filled with energy. And now in science we can even prove it. Science shows you today, we try to see the power between science and religion and how it's really one, that everything is filled with energy. And what happens? Your soul is the kind of the search engine for that energy. When you go in the world, right, and you go through things and you feel like, there's a shawarma store, and all of a sudden, you have your soul that smells through your nose, right? It goes right through your nostrils, and you start feeling that pleasure, energy, food, shawarma, pita, falafel, whatever, barsh, plaf, right? So you start to feel that energy of the eating, or you see that beautiful boy or the beautiful girl walking there, and say, ooh, yeah, your heart starts beating up. Wow, there's more energy there in the world. Wow, what's happening to me? Okay, and we have to pay attention to those energy and realize that everything is filled with it, and the whole idea is try to unite with the positive energy, meaning take that energy and make sure not to take the negative energy. It's negative and positive, like everything, right? Now, energy, by definition, on the Judaism, through the eyes of Judaism, energy is pleasure, right? The more pleasure energy you get, the more pleasure you get. The more pleasure you get, the more energy you get. Okay, so that's why the rabbis teach you that. There's many names, so I'll just in general. Rabbis teach you that the most important ingredient in your doing the mitzvahs, in doing the commandments, or doing your different actions during your day, is to do it with enjoyment, with pleasure. Because what happens with pleasure? What does pleasure do? Pleasure naturally unites things, right? It's the best example is husband and wife. That's the highest level, or boy or girl, obviously. So you have pleasure. The more pleasure you have with your partner, the more intense the unification is going to be. The more love you're going to have, the more you want to be one. The more you share the same pleasure with someone else, the more you feel connected. Oh, you remember in 1963 when we went through that? Oh, wow, yeah, and you start feeling the feeling of the pleasure of before, and right away, in a few seconds, you reunite with that other person who feels the same thing, and that energy and pleasure unites you again, right? So our whole work is to find where that energy is and expand as much as possible, to unite with all the energy in the world, and just make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Unite with more people, right? The whole idea of uniting Jews and becoming one and sharing the same thing, singing the same song, all that. One Shabbat, and we'll all be free, right? The whole idea is that the more we are one, the more you're united, the more we love each other, the more pleasure there's going to be, the more energy there's going to be, and the closer we're going to be to what God is, which is total pleasure, unification, one big ball of energy. Well, it's like if you look, we are all like little candles, and the whole idea is to become a sun, right? So we are all here, and the more you unite, the more you become like the sun, and that's what we're trying to get. When you become like the sun, you become almost like Hashem. You can unite completely, two suns uniting. So it's exciting. That's a little bit what it's all about. So that's the way I ended up looking at the Torah. When I opened the Torah, the book, the Bible, the Ancient Testament, I look at it as a manual for pleasure. God created a world to achieve the highest pleasure. When I open my book, say, God wants me to achieve the highest possible pleasure. How do I achieve the possible pleasure? Here, in that book, He trains me. It's a manual to understand how it works. Okay? Now, it's so serious that the Arizal, which is one of the greatest Kabbalists, say that one is not allowed to pray if he's sad, if he's not joyful. There's only very few moments where you can be a little bit sad, broken-hearted. Not even sad, because sad is a negative feeling. You can be a little bit broken-hearted, like you regret what you did, or you feel far from God, so you feel a bit distant, but it has to be very short. All what you have to do, all the mitzvot should be done completely with love and a tremendous sense of joy. So how do I achieve that? I have to learn. The biggest problem is that we don't learn how to enjoy things. Right? It's very nice to say, yeah, there's pleasure, there's love, okay, but most of the world is on the Prozac. So how does it work then? Right? Because we have to learn how to enjoy. It's not just I come, oh, let me try to enjoy. No. You go to a winery, right? You come there, so it's just you're the American guy. He comes, takes the bottle. Ah, yeah, pretty good, yeah, good. Wait. Let the French guy come in. Here I come. Oui, bonjour. Je voudrais tester le vin. So I'm French, for those who don't know. So you go in the winery and you take the wine and you look at it and you smell the cork and you see the beauty of the color. See, wow, you smell, and then you put it in your mouth a little bit and you let it there a few seconds and then you swallow it. That guy had with just one little sip of wine had more pleasure than the guy who drank the whole bottle. Why? Because he trained himself how to taste the pleasure of wine. So that's as a Jew, that's what you have to do. You have to try to train yourself how to taste the pleasure of life, how to enjoy the pleasure of love, how to enjoy the pleasure of having a friend, the pleasure of having a parent, the pleasure of having children, the pleasure of eating. I remember when I started learning how to eat, I was eating half of what I usually eat, and I was full. You eat a little bit, and you're like, it's like in heaven, nothing matters. You're just, wow, that's amazing. So it's the best diet, by the way. Instead of trying to make diet, you just learn how to eat. You'll see, it's amazing. Okay. Maybe we'll do a class on how to eat. It's, I give a 4 or 5 hours class just on eating. So we'll do it. So, and it's free. You don't need to pay for weight loss or anything. That's the best part. Same thing, you have the Chazon Ish was a very big rabbi. He said that, let's say we do a mitzvah of sukkah, right? So we come to Sukkot. So he say, if you're under the sukkah and you don't feel comfortable, you don't enjoy it, the mitzvah is to go out of the sukkah. You should not stay there. Because chas v'shalom, God forbid, you're going to not enjoy the actual mitzvah. If you don't enjoy the actual mitzvah, then there's no point. Because the whole point of the mitzvah is to learn how to enjoy God. So if you're going against the mitzvah. So, and that's why I think today we have so much problem with it. So many religious Jews who don't like Judaism and run away from Judaism is because they grew up in it and then they're so used to it that they do things out of rote and they don't feel any pleasure in it. They're not even taught by the rabbis, how do I learn how to enjoy that? Yeah, I'll just do the mitzvah and that's it. No. You understand? You only do the mitzvah when you actually feel the pleasure when you do the mitzvah. That's when it becomes a mitzvah. Otherwise, what's the point? You just do mitzvah to do mitzvah. Another point in your checklist for the world to come, Another point. God doesn't need, we're not for quantity, we're here for quality. Yeah.
Does that mean that if I'm not in the right mood, I should not put film at all?
No.
Not at all?
No, that means if you're not in the right mood, you have to work on trying to be in the right mood. I'm still in the... I don't want the people who watch it not to have pleasure of seeing me. Can you make sure it's good? Okay. Okay.
Wait, what was the answer to that? I'm sorry.
So the answer is that no. Okay, I'm in bad mood. Obviously, you say, okay, I'm in bad mood. Then no, you have to work that specifically on that moment. That's when you work on being in a good mood. But if you just go, I'm in a bad mood, we'll wait. So you have to find tools. We have to work. It's a work. It's an effort to find out how it can be in a good mood.
Let's say I'm not in the mood the whole day.
Okay.
The time is up. Do I have to just submit to give up, or do I have to just do it?
You have to fight.
I have to do even
Listen, if you're in a bad mood the whole day, that means you didn't try to be in a good mood. I promise you. Let's say it's the morning, okay? Let's say it's in the morning, and you wake up with a bad mood, and you're about to pray. I'm not in the mood to pray. I'm like, so I come to you and say, how much? I'll give you $10,000 now, cash. Are you gonna be in a good mood right now? Of course, right? So you see is that it's just a matter of a switch. A few seconds makes you change from bad mood to good mood. It's all in the mind. You're in a bad mood because you think you're bothered by something, you think about that. If I tell you, I give you $10,000 cash now, and you just pray, you'll be in a super mood. Oh yeah, I'm going to pray like fire. Why? Just because I give you $10,000 cash? See, it's just all here. If you understand that your mitzvah, what you do, changes the world, it's like also where Kabbalah comes. You understand that those mitzvot that you do, they are so pleasurable because you can change the world when you do those mitzvot. It's literally, that's the difference between the Jew and the non-Jew. We're going to see a bit later. So basically, so you have to try. When you learn the Torah and when you do a commandment, you have to find, okay, how do I get pleasure through that? How is this bring me close to God? And if you and you have to search until you find it. This rabbi might not know, this rabbi might not know, and find till you find out. And you might find on your own with the books. But you have to find how can this mitzvah bring me pleasure in my life, enhance my life. Okay? Every medicine is different. For you, it's going to be that. For you, it's going to be that. It's not always the same medicine. That's why according to the Rambam, it says, of all the commandments, you just need to do one good. Do one perfectly. And you're going to taste God. You're going to be one with God. Because they are all here. The whole purpose is not quantity. It's to do at least just to be with God. It's not like you can buy, like you're with your wife. So you can buy flowers and rings and jewelry, all that. But at the end of the day, all what I want is just to be with you. We don't need anything. We just we just don't want to be united, to love each other. And all the extra artifacts are not important. So it's the same thing. You have to look at God and you. And in Kabbalah, the reason why in Kabbalah they tell you should not learn it before you're married is exactly for that purpose. Because the whole idea is that you and God is like man and a woman. The more you understand the relationship between man and woman, the more you understand the relationship between you and God. Okay? So it's very exciting. You wake up in the morning, right? Tomorrow you're going to wake up and say, today I wake up to achieve pleasure. Okay? How cool is that? It's very exciting. I mean, that's the goal of a Jew, the goal of humanity, but especially the Jew. The Jew is in charge of showing other people how to do it, but we have to do it ourselves. Otherwise, how can we share it with other people, right? Now, a very powerful thing, it says in the Talmud, that when we're going to die, right, at 120 or more, we are going to be accountable for all the pleasures we could have tried and we didn't try. God created all the pleasure in the world for us. And every pleasure you can get something more about life, right? That's going to enhance your life even more. And if you didn't try it, if you didn't use it, then you're wasting life. It's like you could tell that kid is like 5 candy in front of him, and in the back is about 100 candies. So you can have the 5 candies here, or wait 3 minutes and have the 1,000 candies. And the kid instead say, no, I want what's right there, right? We're missing out of life. You understand? There's a huge amount of pleasure there for you, which is going to be much more pleasurable and intense. But we have tendency to want the things now, especially in America. I want things now. Fast food, easy pass, fast sex, everything fast, right? We want it now. Wait a little bit. If you wait a little bit, it's going to be 10 times stronger. But no, we're impatient. We're like little children. We want it now, right? So that's why I think the fast food is the beautiful, like nice restaurant. You have to wait half an hour, 45 minutes, like in France they have. Today is I don't want to wait 5 minutes. Okay, but you don't understand. You're missing to the whole pleasure of food, of eating a good steak, like right steak, right? So it's worthwhile, and that's why we have this world. The whole idea is, right, why are we here in this world? And that's leads us to the second question. Why doesn't God put us straight in the world to come? Where are we supposed to go? Where is the ultimate place where we experience the pleasure?
All over the world, that's what we said.
Yeah, but what's the ultimate end? We're going to experience the God Himself.
One commandment.
Right, when we die in the world to come, what we call Olam Haba, that's the place where we will receive all the reward and all the pleasure we will have searched for in this life, try to experience, and there we'll get the full intensity of it. So the problem is that people say, no, 80 years of life, it's too long, I don't want to wait and then wait till I die to have all those pleasures. I want it right now. And people get busy with the physical pleasure only. The problem is that if you get busy with the physical pleasure only, you don't learn how to have the spiritual pleasure. Therefore, you're going to be there in the world to come, and you won't know how to taste God. You understand? It's again back to the wine. If I don't train to have wine, to drink wine, I'm going to come in the winery, which is the world to come, and I'm going to be there, and you're going to try to drink the wine, but you're going to drink the wine like the American here. Right, nothing against Americans. I'm American too. But just a cliche. So we have to understand here we are here to try to learn how to have pleasure. And the more you train yourself here, when you get in the world to come, you're going to be able to fully experience that pleasure. But you have to train. You have to do the effort of learning how to have it. If you don't enjoy life here, and you find that life here is a hell, when you go in the world to come, it's going to be the same thing. Because you become, in the world to come, who you become here. And this is the whole idea of Shabbat. Shabbat is main olam haba. Shabbat, it's a taste of the world to come. Meaning, if I don't see what is the pleasure of doing Shabbat, if I don't see what's so great about Shabbat, what's the spirituality there, why it's so important, all those laws, and if I don't learn to try to see what's the good in it, I'm going to come in the world to come, which is just Shabbat, 24/7. Imagine we have a whole week just Shabbat. You think you can survive? Yeah.
Might as well have a blackout.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, you see, you have to try to see, let's say I had a week all of Shabbat. Would I be able to live a whole week just of Shabbat? Now, obviously it means, what is Shabbat? Shabbat is not, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. No. You have to find what's the pleasure of Shabbat. If you find what's the pleasure of Shabbat, you want to do Shabbat all the time. The God say, no. But 6 days you work, 1 day you have total pleasure. Not too much pleasure at the same time. And the pleasure, but it's a whole teaching that we are here 6 days, which 6 days are this world, and we train ourselves for Shabbat, how to enjoy Shabbat, which is the world to come. Right? In Kabbalah, that's why they say there's 6,000 years, which we are in now. Right now we're in 5,770 years. And at the 6,000 years, the end of the 6,000 years, which is like the 6 days of creation. And then we enter into the 7th day of creation, which is Shabbat, which is the 7,000 year. And there's some rabbis, Kabbalists, that say during 1,000 years we're going to live on the level of Shabbat. 1,000 years of Shabbat. Anybody interested?
Sunday.
What?
After like Shabbat, it's Sunday or Monday.
No. So we have to try to understand what does that mean, 1,000 years of Shabbat. What it means to live on the level of Shabbat. It has nothing to do with the laws. The laws are only here to help you achieve something about Shabbat. And each one has to try to find. There are a lot of answers. We can spend a lot of time on that. But Shabbat, like every mitzvah, is all here to help you see how can I have the pleasures of life of God. Okay, so.
Means like 24/7 you're supposed to be on high.
Excuse me?
24/7 you're supposed to be on high.
Yeah. Yes. Why are we attracted to pleasure? Why people are run to drugs? Why people run to things that makes you high? Why? Because that's the soul wants that. The problem is that the physical, most of it is the physicality is an example, right? But we see some pleasures destroys you, some high destroys you, and some are helpful. And we have to learn from the physical how to use it on the spiritual. So when I can see, so the best example, right? They say that a man and a woman who have intimacy, right? Who have intercourse, the pleasure you get from that intercourse is 1/60th of the pleasure you get in the world to come. Can you imagine it? No, you can't. It's beyond. But it's just to give you a glimpse that the sexual pleasure it's so strong, yeah, but you know what? This is nothing. This is just a glimpse of what you're going to achieve when you're experiencing God. So that's what we are looking for. That's what God wants for us. And unless we are aware of that, we are wasting a bit our time. You're dealing with little pleasure, like a little kid who wants just what's right in front of him, instead of getting ready for the big pleasure, which you can already feel here in this world. You can already taste God here. You don't need completely. You won't have the full reward here, because you can't have the full reward with a body, because we are more soul than body. So we have to wait till we get there. But you can already have taste of it here, and that's why the Torah and the commandments are supposed to help you achieve here.
People are going to think you're crazy. They're going to ask, like, what are you smoking?
Yeah, but that's fine. I listen. It's.
What was the question?
What?
I see that the way I'm speaking, people think I'm crazy, but you see, I've seen in all the groups I went. Right, I have so many groups before being religious Jew. I was learning about everything, right? Buddhism, Christianity, Islam. I wanted to know everything, see where the truth is, and in any places you're gonna see that there's always a small minority of people. Only a few people are really sincere, only really doing the right things, and the majority is not. So the few people who do the right thing, they're minority. Those are the crazy ones. So you want to be a few people, but to be true and right, even though everybody says you're crazy, or you want to be part of the mass where you just, okay, let's not be too crazy, let's just go through life, it's going to be nice, nobody tells me anything, but I really don't care about what other people think, as long as I don't hurt anybody. I care about what God wants for me. God wants me to achieve the highest possible pleasure, and He gives me a manual, the Torah, and, I'm the happiest person on earth. And all I try to do is to share with other people that you can be the happiest person on earth just like me. Whatever happens through life. Anybody interested?
I just want to share something. I was talking to a friend of mine, she's a non-Jew, and she was saying that we started talking about Shabbat, and she started asking me, what does that mean? And I said to her, how would you like to have a day where no one is calling you, no one is bothering you, no one is asking you to do anything? And she said to me, wow, that is so amazing, that is so wonderful. And I think that when it's presented to you in a certain way where you begin to understand Shabbat not as a restriction, but as maybe as
expansion, right?
As an ability to actually do whatever you want to do and to enjoy yourself and to have time to yourself.
Right, 100%. It's that's right. Once you start to live a life, and you have your. No, my family, they were all against me becoming religious. I'm one of the only religious in my, at least fanatic religious in my family. But once they saw that I was super happy, beautiful marriage, children, and that. My parents were so thrilled. I was so happy. If you look at all the people who they're depressed, they're going to drugs, they don't know what they want in life, they're just turning around. And here I'm like, everybody says to me, why? How come you're so happy? How come they say, there's a manual for happiness, for pleasure. It's all about achieving pleasure here. And try it. It's really, there's no after effects. So, they are free to try, and if they want, if they try and they don't succeed, I think it's because they are not narrow-minded, or they don't do it the right way. It's like the wine. You can drink wine all the way you want, but if you don't learn how to have pleasure from the wine, you won't have pleasure. But first thing, you have to experience yourself. When you experience yourself, you're going to be contagious. You're going to be, today in the world we discovered through science that something that may experience with water, that the feelings or the thoughts you send on the water or on the plants affects the molecule of the water and makes the plant grow faster or stronger. Basically, if you have positive feelings, it allows more power for the plant to grow. It blossoms much more. And if you have negative, it prevents the plant from growing. So when you are in that state of pleasure and happiness, people are affected by it. It's contagious and it's good. You create more energy and people want that energy. It goes bounce back and become more one. So, nobody wants to stay next to a guy who's like, if a guy's like that, like, who wants to dance with him? Like, yeah, oh wow, smile, it's pleasure, right? So we have to try to radiate of happiness and pleasure. Okay. Okay, so we say that this world is a preparation and the goal is to achieve the highest pleasure there in the world to come, right? We are here. Now, why, if I ask you, why God didn't put us straight there in the world to come? Why did He put us here and not straight there?
You need to work hard to get it. You
Why?
Get everything because, easy. If you get it easy, you don't enjoy it as much.
Okay, exactly. All the reason why we're here first is to have even more pleasure. Everything is designed so that the pleasure becomes exceptionally awesome. And it's the same idea where, for example, in marriage, when you have a husband and wife separated from each other for a certain amount of time, to increase the pleasure. All the little restrictions you find, not all, but the majority of the little restrictions you're going to find in Judaism are only here for you to enhance the pleasure. The whole thing of that people think it's crazy, which I thought also was crazy, not touching a man or woman before marriage. Okay, today is a bit different generation, so it depends when it applies or not. But I don't want to give a general law like that because everybody is different. But the whole idea of not touching his wife before marriage is only here because once you're going to touch her the day of the marriage, the touching is going to be so intense. It's going to be incredible. Removing, in couples they have that thing called what's called abstinence therapy by non-Jews. Non-Jews have something called abstinence therapy. You see that you prevent yourself from being close to your wife or like touching, being involved at least sexually, and you know what? When you do that, the feeling, the desire is going to become much, much stronger. The sensitivity of touching is much stronger. Therefore, when you're going to have a closing with your wife, it's going to be incredible. It's going to be intense. It's going to be passionate. It's going to be wow, fire. Yeah.
I've heard that Jewish couples have more intimacy than non-Jews or Jewish regular couples.
Right.
That they have, along the years, they have more intimacy than the others. Because they wait, and that wait makes it stronger. Want to do it more than after a couple of years.
Right, and that's why the rate of divorce by Jews is the lowest, in one of the lowest. The truly religious, the one who usually keeps the law. But yeah, all here is only here. There's no such a thing really as a restriction. Anything that says don't do that is only to help you expand the pleasure you can have. Okay. Right. So now we're going to the next question, next idea, which is: are we a body or a soul? And it's so important to understand that on a philosophical level, psychological level. Okay. Any opinions? Are we a body or are we a soul? Okay. What? Tell you both. What's you in the body? What part of the body is you? So when you say I, is the body who says I? The body has its own opinion? Oh, so really you are a soul, right? When I say I want this, is it, well, it's true, sometimes you have a desire from the body to eat, but why do you even have the body from the desire to eat? Because the soul knows that if you don't give the body the desire to eat, I'm going to die, right? there has to be an intelligent system. Why do I naturally want to eat like that? Because if I wouldn't be angry to eat, I will die. I wouldn't know that I have to eat. I will die. So when I say I, it's really the I of the body, of the soul. I am a soul. So and the best example I like to give is like, let's say you have someone who is in space, right? And he's in a spacesuit, and you see the guy moving like that, and say, oh, look at that person. He's like all white, and he has a very big eye there in the front. You don't understand. That's not the person. There's someone in it moving like that, right? So the same thing. When I move my hand like that, it's not my hand moving. Inside is a soul. Anybody saw the movie Terminator? Right? What? So the Terminator, basically for those who saw it basically is a machine, right? Recovered with things. He removes his skin. And what you see inside is all a mechanism. It's like a robot, right? So same thing. If I would technically take off my skin, also I will see my soul. It's just the soul is not visible, at least according to for most people. But I will see a soul. The reason I move like that, I have that happening because this just follows it surrounds my soul. It just follows it. So I am a soul. And it's the soul that has the desire for pleasure. It's a search engine for pleasure. And that's why all day long, all my choices are going to be based, I'm going to choose that or that. That or that. This pleasure or this pleasure. I wake up in the morning. Should I stay in bed or should I go work? Why most people will go to work instead of staying in bed? It's more than responsibility. It's more than routine. What's happening if you stay in bed?
You lost your job.
If you stay in bed, you're a moron. You don't get any pleasure. You're going to be there sleeping, and then after 10 hours, 50 hours of sleeping, you'll be like a dead person. The guy who goes out, he feels responsible. He has responsibilities. I get money. I can do things with money. I can create. I can help people. So he senses that he's living. There's more pleasure of getting up, doing something out of my life than to stay in bed and just stay like a piece of meat. When you stay in bed, you're really a piece of meat. You're not a soul anymore, right? So that's very crucial to understand. Any feelings you have, or even sickness someone have, everything is rooted inside him, into the soul. People tend to look at the symptoms. You understand? You can try to heal the symptoms, but if you don't go to the root of the sickness, you're still sick inside, right? So one has to always look, okay, why? In the past, people would not go to the doctors. To the doctors. People would go to the prophets. You go to Mr. Prophet. I have a problem in my hand. I have lepra, whatever it is. I can use my hand. So you don't understand. 15 years ago, you hit someone with that hand, and you never ask for forgiveness. You never fix what you did, and therefore your hand, which is really the soul, is damaged, and you're not fixing. Therefore, it's getting worse and worse. Let's say what you have to do is to do that commandment of charity, for example. Just giving one example that corresponds to that piece of your hand, and when you're going to do that, the energy is going to go back and you're going to heal that piece of your body, and that's what they do. You do this, and they will get healed like that. There's no such thing as doctors. Even by non-Jews, they'll go to sorcerers or stuff like that. It was not just by Jews. Today we got so physically and scientifically oriented that we forgot that there's a whole spiritual thing that is going on behind that. That's when psychology enters in. When you go to a psychologist or a therapist, he's here really to find out what's in your soul. So they say it's the intellect, where it's something what you think, your emotions. But where does that come from? It's your soul. That's your soul is feeling. And you try to exorcise or take out what's there in there and find out, open it, and realize that you have to, there's a problem you have to fix, and once you fix it, you'll be happy. You won't see it. That's why the Vilna Gaon, the big rabbi, says the best cure for all sicknesses, best cure is happiness. Because if you have happiness, your energy flows all your body. That means happiness means I'm happy, I have good energy, I'm positive, and I'm close to God. I'm happy about life, right? So you have that cures. That means you have no problem inside. You have resolved all the problems, right? True happiness, right? Not just smiling. Yeah. True happiness inside and outside. So, okay. So and I don't know if anybody knows. I mean, there's some know actually. We have 5 levels of pleasure. 5 levels of pleasure, right? Not just 2. It's very exciting. 5 levels of pleasure, one higher than the other. So I mentioned them. 5 levels of pleasure are physical pleasure, emotional pleasure, intellectual pleasure, spiritual pleasure, and God Himself. Okay, and all what we have is all here to try to make choices between all those pleasures. So let's see quickly. Yes, what's the question?
It's not in all of them.
What?
God is not in all of them.
No. Yes. Yes. It's all of them, but the God Himself is the pleasure, or it's all the latter. And to learn how to make choices, and until you achieve God Himself. God is like the attention. It's like, do I have pleasure from the light coming out? Yes. But is it the light itself? It's not the light itself. If you come and I touch the light, zzz, right? The electricity, right? So you can get the radiation from the light, but it's not the light itself. You know? It's like, oh, I can love my wife by singing to her and by giving her gifts, but until I really hug her, it's not my wife himself. So I have a kind of feeling and emotions. I feel energy, but it's not the real thing yet. It's all a taste to come closer to it, right? So, because if we get it right away, then there's no step. All the goal is to grow and get closer and closer to all those desires. So, and you have to understand, that's the choices you have to make every day in life. So let's see. Right, physical pleasure, very easy to define: food, sleep, low level of sex, all different. What do you have? Sleeping, eating, the sun on your face, the wind in your hair, whatever you like, exercising, adrenaline, all those sports. So that's physical. Now emotional. Emotional, the highest is love. Emotional pleasure is much stronger than physical. That's why if I love that girl, I'm going to go on diet because I love her. Even though I'm preventing myself from certain physical pleasure, I say I'd rather have the emotional love because I want her to love me, right? I want the love to be stronger on an emotional level. Therefore, I'm going to reduce the pleasure. Or I'm living with my girlfriend in an apartment and she doesn't like that painting. So, I love it, but I'll get rid of it. I'd rather have the passionate love between her and me, the peace and the love, than have that painting giving me physical pleasure, eyesight pleasure. So you see that when you're going to make a choice between physical and emotional is always going to be stronger. Then you have intellectual. Intellectual is more when you have a goal, right? You're passionate. You're passionate about a goal, a mission in life. This is going to be much stronger than the emotional for it. That's why, for example, you choose, even though you might love that boy or that girl, you choose to marry someone Jewish because you have the same goal. Your goal is to, I mean, obviously it works only if the Jew has a specific Jewish mission. But the idea is that you have the same goal in life and you want to share the same goal. Therefore, you're going to marry someone, even though you might love that person, it just doesn't fit. Even without talking between Jews and non-Jews, even you have two people and they love each other, but they have two different goals in life. And this one goes like, this one goes like that. One wants to live on the top of the Himalaya, and the other wants to live in Manhattan. It's just not going to work. I mean, now we have email and stuff about Facebook, but it's not. I don't think it's enough. So the intellectual is going to be much stronger. Someone who leaves his wife's home and children to go fight for his country. That's a pleasure of a goal in life. It's stronger even than his emotional pleasure. And then the next one is spiritual. Spiritual is few descriptions. You have prayer, which is physical. Spiritual is already when you start to go beyond your completely of your body. Meditation. You have what do you have? Prayer. You have Torah learning. It can become spiritual, like experience Shabbat, meaning using things with the right intention, meaning you're using your brain for the physical, turns things into spiritual. Spiritual experience is always harder to describe. You come to the Kotel in Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. You come there and you come to the Kotel and you start crying, like, whoa, what's happening? Or you come in a place and you feel negative vibes. Like women are very tuned to that, right? They go in a place like, ooh, I don't like that place. There's something wrong with that place. You remove. The more spiritual you are, the more you're tuned to those things. And then the last one is God Himself, right? So basically, when I wake up in the morning, I have to learn how to make choices. Should I take that job or that job? So if that job is going to bring me to the higher levels of pleasure, intellectual or spiritual, and this job is going to bring me more to emotional or physical pleasure, then I should choose the higher ones, because those one will give me the most lasting pleasure, the most intense, and they're going to be give me a greater happiness.
What about God?
What? So God is the fifth one. What is God? What is God? You can't really describe it. Let's say you're on the spiritual or during prayer, you start praying, and all of a sudden you feel one with everything. Does that help? So yeah.
I asked the question about, I remember Emmanuel, my cousin, once he asked the rabbi to describe what is God. And his answer was, God is everything, everywhere, every time.
Right. That's why I say you experience being one with everything. We cannot describe what God is because we don't really know what God is. It's the suspense of life. Would you have a movie without suspense? You will never see a movie without kind of suspense, like what's happening, what's behind the door, right? Because if you have a movie where you know everything already, it's the most boring thing. God makes things hidden so that they can be a hide and seek game. Wow, what's happening? It makes life so much more interesting, right? That's why Kabbala is like, wow, what's happening? It's there's something hidden. Yeah.
Whenever I was younger, like 7 or probably, I think I was 7. I used to always imagine thinking, imagine there wouldn't be us, no planet, no water, the color white, the color black, the stars, and black is a color. I was trying to imagine so hard. Imagine there wouldn't be anything. What's beyond that color? What's beyond all of us?
Uh-huh.
Beyond all of us is God. There's something there who made all of us.
Right.
You can't see Him, of course, but there's this little feeling that you feel incomplete without that push to be good, to help others, to create, to love, to feel. It's everything. You can't really explain it. Even a child, even when I was younger, I didn't know it was God. Nobody told me. But I just always imagine. Imagine not being here, planet, everything.
No.
But even the color white or black, it's still something. So it's beyond our belief or imagination. There is somebody there who created us.
Yeah, that's you're right. There is something we are looking for. That naturally, human being is looking. Why? Actually, that's what I love. What's the biggest proof that there is meaning to life? That there is a God. The biggest proof that there is a God is that everybody in the world is not happy until he finds meaning in life. Why? Finding meaning in life gives you happiness. Maybe eating cheeseburgers gives you happiness. No. A guy can do all the little different things in the world until he has actually meaning in what he does, he's depressed. Why? Because there's something hidden behind. And I understand that if there is meaning, that means there's a God that has meaning to all that. There's how I say, orchestra. There's a master who created all that, intelligent master that made that whole design. So we have to try to go behind the scenes and see what's the true meaning of all that. So let's continue a little bit more. And then we'll go into questions. Okay, now let's see where to go exactly. So one of the things that is a big misconception in Judaism is, should I find reasons in the mitzvot I do, in the commandments? Am I supposed to try to understand what I'm doing? And a lot of people, a lot of rabbis says, just do naseh v'nishma. You do, later you understand. You know, like you say, kid, just do it. One day you understand. Well, that can be very, very dangerous. Because you're going to do, and you're never going to understand. And therefore your doing is just going to be a routine, and you're going to achieve anything from that doing. So the idea is that every commandment is known by Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, that says that he knew hundreds of reasons for all the commandments of the Torah. Except one, paraduma. But we have today even some reasons for paraduma. But we have hundreds and thousands of reasons for the mitzvot. And all there are here for you to understand, enhance your life, understand the meaning of being a soul, what you're supposed to do, and come close to God. Here to enhance your pleasure. So you're supposed to find meaning in what you do. And that's the big message I'm trying to share all the time. If you come in Judaism and it's not attractive, it's not beautiful, it's not Judaism. If there is a religion in the world, right, and God made that religion, it has to be fantastic, it has to be amazing, it has to be beautiful, it has to be pleasurable, it has to be that it works for every human being. It's up to you, but God has to let you have free choice, because He doesn't want robot. He has to let you go and have a choice. So if you see someone who is religious and he's not happy and he looks not attractive, then, or maybe he does it, he just doesn't show it on the outside. But it's certainly not the way of being religious. Because a religious Jew, when you should look at a religious Jew, what does it say about the Jews? You have to be a light unto the nation. You have to come, you have to shine. Right? And everybody's like, wow, I want that. I want that. And one day, when God is going to reveal, He says that all the non-Jews are going to follow the Jews. Why? Not because we are the best, because we have trained to know how to live life on the highest level. And we'll be teaching them, showing them how to do it. And that will help us all be one with God. Yeah.
Now, why are we keeping so low profile at this point of the story? As opposed to like Muslim, they're expanding their mass helping. So why are we keeping so low profile? Why are we so submissive to other nations?
Why are we
so afraid of persecution, as opposed to being more proactive, being more like in control?
We should be more in control.
So
because Jews are not proud to be Jews.
What?
Jews are not proud to be Jews.
Why not?
Ask them. Why? They think Jewish is a lower level. I know for myself. When I was Jewish, I was in France. I take my kippah. I don't want anybody to know. Why? What's the thing? Because I feel lower on my things. Well, sometimes you're scared, but sometimes you just don't want to see because I'm Jewish. It's people don't like us. All that. If you are proud and you show there's goodness in there, and you become a light unto others, people are going to be interested.
If it has to do with soul, what's the root of the problem? Is there something wrong with our soul, or something like that?
That we are low. That we have a
national level.
On a national, there's a problem in us that we don't work on finding the beauty of what's in Judaism, what God really wants from us. We don't use the word in the right way.
I understand the question.
What?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't understand.
My question was, why are we keeping so low profile as opposed to like other cultures, like Muslims, or trying to impose their values on others?
Right. You see, we're supposed to do something. We're supposed to be as strong as the Arabs, but in a way that is peaceful, in a way that is lovely, not by terrorizing everybody. Everybody who doesn't believe in Allah, let's kill him. It's not no. Jews are not preachers. That's why we want to lead by example. But the problem, the Jews themselves are not examples. If you become an example, yes. I've met I give an example of my rabbi. I met my rabbi, and each time I meet him, I want to be more like him because he's incredible. I wish I was such an honest person, such a lovely person who doesn't touch a fly. It doesn't, everybody he meets, he leaves him with the impression of feeling better, or of goodness. So those are the rabbis we describe, all the stories of the tzaddikim and the holy rabbis we hear. Anybody who will meet them, they want to stay with them all the time because it's so holy, it's so beautiful, it's so much love there that's what you want, and that's how we should become. That's what the Torah is trying to make of you, to make you into a super happy person, with so much love and so much energy that anybody wants to become like that.
If I like my question,
sure.
They are constantly being told that since we're in goals, we are not supposed to be too proactive in terms of we have to keep low profile because we're in goals.
We have to be humble.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we're in goals.
Well, the only reason we're in Galut is because we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
No, that's not the question.
Okay.
Why, because of Galut, why do you have to be that way?
I never read it anywhere that you have to be that way. I know you have to be humble, but to be humble for me is a different definition. Being humble is to be who you really are. I don't know where you took that idea. I understand what you say, but I never saw it written anywhere.
Like black people, African Americans,
right?
They're also in Galut. They were brought here as slaves.
Right.
Nevertheless, look what they do. Look what they achieve in terms of the national pride. Why can't we follow their example?
Well, I agree. We have to fight for who we are. I don't think we're supposed to be low profile.
Okay.
We have to be humble, but we have to fight for who you are. You have to be proud. People will respect Jews much more if we do. That's why it says if you do the right things, the nation will respect you. But they don't respect us, and we're low profile because we don't try to be who we are. If you're the best possible human being you can be, who doesn't want to learn from that person? Who doesn't want to be close to that person?
But we keep it to ourselves. I mean, there are non-Jews here. We're all Jews. Then what he's saying is that why are we just preaching among us? Just among us.
Oh, well...
Maybe.
Is it correct to that?
Maybe my question.
No, I agree. Well, no, it's a great question, and I disagree. It's not just among us. You start with yourself. You start with your family. Am I going to start helping the kid of the other, or start with my kid? No, first I make sure my kid is healthy. But when I go in the marketplace, right, I'm in charge of all those Jews, all those non-Jews. All the non-Jews are my brothers and sisters. I have a closer relationship with my own Jews because that's like real family, and we're a team. A teamwork to change the world. But when I go among the non-Jews, you're supposed to love the non-Jew. And you're supposed to show him the right way. You're supposed to be an example. And I think the biggest problem is that I tell you one, I think the big problem is we're so scared to be affected by the non-Jew. And so scared about the negativity you might find there that we disconnect completely and we become closed-minded and hidden in our own little bubble. And it's not good. That's what it's supposed to be. So it's true, you have at the beginning to be alone a little bit in order to be yourself. But then you have to go full force out there. The rabbi the father of my rabbi used to say the whole purpose of going to yeshiva and spend hours of learning is only to find out who you truly are, and what your mission is, and then you go in the world and change the world. That's the whole goal of learning Torah, is to find out what's your power. Every one of us has a mission, and he has to find what his power is. When you find who you really are. I'm the best at singing. Go out and sing and change the world. I'm the best at painting. Go out painting and change the world. I'm the best at giving smiles. So go out and smile to everybody and change the world. We have oyoyoy, right? The best oyoyoy. So you have to use what?
You didn't answer the question.
Which?
You didn't answer his question.
Oh, he answered. He did.
Yeah?
You answered it properly.
So, but I cannot answer every question. I cannot, but some. Okay, and I want to finish with one last question, and which I think is the most important, and that's related to what we just said, is what's the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew? Okay? And because I think that's where we mostly make mistake about how we look at it, and we can be arrogant because we're Jewish, or we can be, like you said, we stay too much close-minded. But the more we understand what's the difference between Jew and non-Jew, the more we understand our responsibility as Jews. You have to understand, at the beginning of creation, God created the concept of Israel. Meaning Israel was supposed to be everybody, from the first man till the last man. There was not supposed to be such a thing as Jews and non-Jews. Everybody was supposed to be Jewish. Jewish doesn't mean I belong to those people. Jewish means I'm here to change the world, to achieve the highest pleasure, to connect to God and bring the whole world with me connected with God. That's what Jewish means. Now, what happened, the majority of the world was not doing that. People start to be selfish and keep low profile. and they start to do their own thing, and God, we're not interested. We'd rather have the immediate pleasure, and we're not interested into what's going to happen there in all of that. We want to do our own things. And God say, that's not the purpose of the world. I can't keep the world like that. That's why there was a flood. God say, I have to clean that. I didn't create the world for that purpose. So he cleaned the world and start from fresh. Again, with Noah. Noah, he was the only one who say, God, I want to connect to you. I want to bring the God close to you. The world close to you. There was a need for people to do that. So what happened? The first one who say, God, I understand what you really want, and I want to make sure that the world goes to destination the way you want, which is achieve the highest pleasure, is Abraham. Abraham is the first one who understood the mission of the world is to become Israel, is to become a Jew, which means that we have to achieve the highest pleasure. I mean, it sounds simple, but it's so important. It's as simple as that. But the more something is simple, the less we do it. The less important it sounds. So Abraham went out there, and he did only kindness. He was the nicest person on earth. That's why he became the beloved of God. He just kept giving. God is giving, I'm going to give too. I'm going to give pleasure to everybody, just like God gives pleasure to everybody. Right? So God said, that's perfect. That's what I had in mind at the beginning. The nation of Israel, the people of the world were all supposed to be, so that's what I want. So if you continue doing that, I'm going to have enough people that I don't need to destroy the world again, and those people are going to be in charge of taking all the people of the world and turn all of them into beings who wants to be one with God, who wants to achieve the highest pleasure. So at Mount Sinai, that's when there was the cutoff. At Mount Sinai, you understand that if we had too many more, if everybody had the soul of a Jew, which means that when I do something, it affects the entire world, the spiritual and the physical world. That's how powerful a Jew is. His soul, when I do a little action, I hurt someone, it's not I'm just hurting him, I'm hurting the entire world. That's why I say one human being is like an entire world. So if you have all those peoples who are the majority, who don't do the right thing, they're going to destroy the world because there's more negativity than positivity. So what happens is, I'm going to take that few, the low number of people, starting with Abraham, anybody who wants to join, and that was Mount Sinai, where they all said, we want to be part of that group who is going to bring the world in the right direction, and bring all the world close to you, and show people how to have pleasure. And then, when this happened, then all the other ones are going to lose their soul power. Meaning, now after that, the one who doesn't want to be part of that mission, when he's going to do an action, only going to affect his immediate surrounding. But it's not going to affect the entire world, because they are going to destroy the world otherwise. And that's where the split is. Now, every non-Jew has the choice to be part of that mission again, if he wants. But it's a free choice. Everybody has a choice. It's not that we are better. It's not that we're like that or like that. No, everybody was Jewish in a way at the beginning. It's just after, that's one way to look at it. At Mount Sinai was the creation of the non-Jew, not the creation of a Jew. Meaning the non-Jew is the one who lost that piece of power so that he doesn't destroy the world when he does something bad. And that's why when we do something bad, we destroy the world. And that's why in the Talmud it says, if there is a tsunami, if there is a Katrina, if this is because of us. Because your soul is so powerful, your action, when you hurt someone, it's so powerful, it has a butterfly effect, it destroys the world. And that's our responsibility. Whenever something happens bad in the other side of the world, we're supposed to think, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And it's very intense. And that's why a lot of people didn't want to be Jewish. Like, wow, that's that intense. I don't want to be responsible for that. You know, who wants to be president? I don't want to be president. It's like scary. Or who wants to be, Einstein was devastated. We created the atomic bomb. When he saw what it did, he was. But what power! So that's what we have to think constantly about. A Jew is responsible for the entire world. Every action I do, it's so precious and so important, and therefore I have to watch who I am as a Jew. I'm responsible for the entire world, and I'm supposed to show the non-Jew how to behave and how to enjoy life, and realize that the highest pleasure is God Himself. The more I become a better person, the more I become filled with pleasure, the more I become close to God. And the biggest way to achieve that pleasure, and the fastest way, is to learn or to work on your character traits. The more you work on your character traits, we're directly connected to your soul, the more you're going to have pleasure, the more you're going to be sensitive to the spiritual world. And that's why and it's the hardest. Whatever is harder in life, that's what gives you the biggest pleasure. The hardest thing for a human being is to change. We don't like to change. It's uncomfortable. We just want to lie in the sofa or in Tahiti on the thing chair with a cocktail and that's it, nothing matters. No, we have to change. And that's what the real pleasure is. So, just to conclude, the idea tonight was that we are powerful souls. Each Jew, every human being, but the Jew on the top of that, has energy which is his soul. His soul is an atomic bomb. Each time he does a little movement, it affects the entire world, destroys it, or make it so much more beautiful. And it's our responsibility to show the world with the effect we have on it, and to show them where the beauty is, what the beauty is of being a human being and becoming close to God. All the Torah, all what we have is only here to help us enhance our life, to make it more beautiful. And we have to keep searching, whether for the right rabbi or for the right book, until you find where God put or explains to you, where you have clarity about how, when I do that, tomorrow when you're going to do whatever mitzvah you're going to do, to give charity, or when you're going to put tefillin, or you're going to do Shabbat, ask yourself, why do I do that? How am I doing Shabbat, or am I lighting candles Friday night, or giving a coin to a poor person is going to change the world? How is it going to make it more beautiful? If I am able to see and have an answer, then I understood what's my mission. I understood what God really wants. I see where the pleasure is. I see the beauty of the world, and I want to increase it. That would be then real Judaism. Okay. Any questions or answers on any topic? Yes.
Talking about soul.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the concept of reincarnations?
Concept of reincarnations. Very good. So, reincarnation is a complete belief of Judaism, right? The Judaism believes 100% that people reincarnate, and the only reason we are born with some defect or with some negative trait is only to fix whatever we didn't fix in the past, right? So everyone has a mission, and based on his power that he has and his character traits, he has to find, okay, what's my mission, what I'm supposed to fix. Whatever he didn't finish fixing in his life, he has to come back, reincarnate in the next level, a few 100 years or 1,000 years later, and fix it.
How are you supposed to figure it out without knowing it for sure?
Okay, so you know what you're supposed to do based on who you are. you see where your weaknesses is, and you see where your power is. Based on that, you know what you have to finish to fix, based on your past. In the past, we'll go to the prophet, and the prophet will say, yes, 1,000 years ago, you were Mr. Shmuel, and you did this good thing, but this thing you did bad, now you have to fix it, and where you didn't give money to a poor person, you didn't have mercy, you have to come back in this 1,000 years later and to give mercy, have mercy on a poor person, to fix yourself.
When they talk about different levels of Shemayim, is that different levels of achieving pleasure? Like someone on a higher level will achieve more pleasure?
Yes, 100%. The old is the seventh heaven, right? You have different levels of that. The same way, the reason we have 5 levels of pleasure, it corresponds to the 5 levels of the soul. And same way, you have different levels in the world to come. 5 levels, basically. So the more you refine yourself, the more you become sensitive to the real pleasure, the higher you will be. Therefore, based on how much you achieve in this world, that's where you're going to be in the world to come. Everyone is going to be different level, based on what you achieve. We're free. We run our own life, and we program our own future. You learn how to have pleasure, you will have pleasure there. You learn just to waste your time, you will waste your time there too. It's all proportionate on what you do. We are free, we create, we're creators like God. And we have to create our own world. What world do you want to live in? A world of love, a lot of peace, a lot of beauty, a lot of goodness? Or a world of arrogance, a world of selfishness, a world of just physical pleasure? You choose what you want. The way you're going to live here, that's what you're going to get there, but maximize to thousands. To the maximum, it's going to be enhanced to.
Our soul chooses to come back here to fix some things so we can get onto a higher level.
Right. That's a kindness of God. That God allows us to come to push us to finish, so that we get the full reward for it. It's a kindness of God that we get more chance to fix it.
Our meaning in this life would be what we didn't do in the other.
Yes, in a way. Yeah, to fix whatever I didn't finish to do in the past. That's right. Any other questions? Yes.
I wanted to ask about sometimes children get sick, small children.
Right.
Basically, when they're born, all they have is the Yetzer Hara.
Yeah.
13 years old.
Yes.
They're not responsible for mitzvot, so
right.
they can't sin because basically until 13 they don't know how to do mitzvot.
Right.
So how do they get sick? If they don't have any sins, why do they get sick?
Right. So there can be two things, or something from the past, right? First of all, it's very hard to speak about children, right? Because it's a very sensitive issue. Discuss children. We don't clearly understand the whole picture, because if we have the whole picture, we won't feel bad about it. But it can be, one thing can be that the parents, if the parents do something bad, it affects the children. So if the parents are doing something negative, it can destroy the children themselves. Or it can be something from the past that was not fixed, and he's sick in order to fix that thing from the past. Or he comes in that state because he's sick from the past, and you have to help him fix himself, so he cures himself. Right? You have to give him the tools, like a doctor gives the tools in order to heal yourself.
But let's say we're not talking about like something serious, just like, let's say, a flu.
Oh no, okay. So we have to be careful in sickness. If you're just a flu because you were running under the water all naked, like that, that's your own responsibility. It's nothing to do with the past. We have to be responsible of our own thing. If you're not, you have to learn how to protect yourself from sicknesses. And if you just go in a place where everybody is sick, yeah, you're gonna become sick. So you have to. There's the physical world and the spiritual. You have to be careful of the dangers of the physical world, and you have to fix the past from the spiritual world. Right?
About the diet lectures, I would love to know when.
About what? The diet? How to eat?
No, like when we're going to have a lecture.
About how to eat? Yeah. Okay.
I'm curious too, actually, about that.
About how to eat? Yeah, it's great. It's amazing. So, Bezat Hashem, what can we do? We could do it one Sunday. I have to give you a date. I will let you know. How do you have?
I'm receiving emails from the.
Okay, so I'll let you know the same way. I will do a lecture just on eating. And yes?
Question. Okay, so our soul is being reincarnated. And so
Yes.
this means we fulfill our... Okay, so what happens if... Do we believe in hell at all?
Okay.
So at what point, like, does our soul go to hell? Not our, but like a person's soul go to hell?
Okay, hell, right? We have to make sure hell, we understand hell is not the Christian concept of hell, where there's fire around, we have a pitchfork, right? That's not hell. That's the Christian concept. That's for movies. Hell by us is only going to the cleaners, meaning you're a little bit dirty. It's the last process to get clean so that you can go in the spiritual world, right? You have to go in Olam Haba. You have the world to come, and you have this world. In order to go there, you have to go through the radiations to clean yourself so that you can go there, right? You can go into the like you go to in the hospitals. They have to take all the bad germs on you so that you can go there free, completely free of anything. So that's what hell is. So it can be painful. Because when you clean, the more dirty you are, the more you have to scratch. So yeah, it might be more. The more unclean you are, the more it's going to hurt on the spiritual level. But that's why the more you're the better person you are, the more spiritual you are, the less of germs you have, so to say.
Every soul at some point goes through that.
Yeah, every soul, even the tzaddikim.
Can I ask you one thing about the hell? I just heard it's like for a short time, or it's like forever.
The maximum time for hell is 11 months. That's why we say Kaddish for 11 months.
11 months only?
Maximum. There's a concept of you can be cut off, completely cut off, but that's different than hell. There's what's called the keol, the shell, where your soul is lost forever, wandering soul. That's it's very rare, but that's when someone does only bad in his life and never repent and is just bad. Then God cuts his soul completely and let it wander in the spiritual world like a lost soul. But that's rare. But that's not hell. That would be like more of a Christian understanding of hell. Right.
Like as you stated, the soul gets clean hell.
Right.
Goes back to heaven.
Well, this is only once you are only a little bit left. Meaning, I come back, I get reincarnated. You have the choice. Or you go to hell and then you go straight to heaven. You just clean a little bit the little germs you had left on you from the physical world, right? The few more sins that, okay, I will polish it and you're good to go. Or you're still very dirty, and you go to get reincarnated to give you another chance.
What exactly are you talking about? Is it some kind of a physical location?
No, it's completely spiritual. Yeah, completely spiritual, not physical.
Place called heaven, place called hell.
No, yeah, those are levels, like 3th, 4th dimension, 5th dimension. It's something we're not completely yet aware what it is. Yes.
What about the different levels of hell? I heard that there's like 7 levels.
Right.
The last one.
Right. Yeah, the same way. Everything is part of 7 levels. Everything is provided. It's all here to give you a glimpse of and the importance of who you are. The more I do something bad, the more it's going to hurt. You're responsible for who you are, for the world. When I do a bad action, I affect the world. It's real. It's not just affecting myself, affecting the world. When I do something good, you affect the world. And the more you broke the glass, you have to go down and fix it. You can't just. We're not a kid. A kid wants to break the glass and wants to leave. We can't do that. A Jew has to clean it. That's his job. Right. So everything you see in the world is a good example. Nature. A Jew is not supposed to take his cigarette and shouldn't smoke in the first place, but shouldn't throw his cigarette on the thing. He should not put. I saw so many unfortunately Jews who they don't take care of nature. A Jew is responsible for everything. Nature, animals. Save the whales. I mean, save the people first. But a Jew is responsible for absolutely everything. You can't allow any negative thing to happen.
Wait, so you said responsible for animals. Does that mean that we have to be like animal lovers?
Yes, big time. You're not allowed to kill an ant. You can't. No. Well, listen, what's the difference? I always give that example to my wife. What's the difference between an ant and a dog? Okay, I'll kill the ant. I'll kill the dog. Will you kill a dog? No. So why do you kill the ant? So it's the same thing. It's just different of size.
Maybe that's a mitzvah to kill the animal.
No. Does it make sense to you?
How come we eat them?
Do your heart doesn't hurt when you kill the animal? No.
How come we eat them?
No. So you're only allowed to kill an animal if in order to eat. Hunting is forbidden, and killing too many animals for your food is not good either. And there's a lot of rabbis that says a Jew is supposed to be vegetarian, and that in the Bet HaMikdash the korbanot are not going to be made out of meat. They're going to be made out of flour and cakes and bread, challah.
They used to be made of meat in the past.
No, at Amarish we were not allowed to eat meat until Noach. Until Noach, we were vegetarian.
But
somehow, yeah, because we messed up in the world. We had to understand what it means to kill an animal and to. There's more to it.
In terms of reincarnation, God to be served soul to stone or some kind of animal to complete the mitzvah and go back to heaven.
Right, so as a punishment, you can end up in a mineral or in different levels. There are mineral, vegetables, animals. You can end up in those.
Let's say some poison in the ant, you don't kill it. So you do the mitzvah. Goes to heaven.
You did a mitzvah? No.
So what is the mitzvah for the ant to go to heaven?
That could be, but it's not. You should not. That's God's plan. Not responsibility. Yes. What before? Not you.
What is the concept of the Jews collecting holy sparks? What is that?
Oh, okay. That's very good you brought that. The whole idea that I mentioned about pleasure, having pleasure in things, the pleasure comes from the holiness that are in things. When you chew your food and you have pleasure, this pleasure comes from the holiness of the world, the energy of the world. Like we say, God is everywhere. So God, in a way, is in those sparks, in these things. When you eat them, you're supposed to take pleasure and recognize its source. When intellectually, just through the mind, you recognize that this comes from God, this pleasure, this energy and sparks go back to its source. And that's the whole idea of uniting the world, physical and spiritual. Your recognition of all those sparks. That's why we say we are everywhere in the world. We spread out all over the world so that we can take all the sparks and elevate them to its roots.
Yeah. Do the deceased know about what was going on with us in this life?
Who, sorry?
The people who died. Do they know about what's going on with us? Yeah.
There's different opinions. Some say they don't. Some say they do. We know a lot of cases where people were involved, spiritually with their parents who came in a dream of things. So there's different. I read both. It's not so clear. There might be a certain level of soul based on how, the level of spirituality that they're able to be there and come back and be aware. See what's going on. But I don't think it's not the majority of souls. I think it's specific cases. Yes.
What does it mean when you have a dream and someone from the dead comes to your dream? Because some people, like my grandson, put on a candle or something. What is it supposed to mean?
The candle? Yeah. The candle represents the soul that you kind of bring back to memory, like you light up again. You're showing that the light of the soul that was there before is still alive here. You recognize that it was still there. So it's to remember that soul that was there, that was giving light to the world in the past.
Whenever the person's death comes to your dream, doesn't it send you a message or something?
Yes. So yes, in many cases, yes, especially by Sephardim, especially by women. Sephardi women have much more dreams than Ashkenaz. As a woman, it's a known thing because they're usually, especially in the past, because Sephardim are much more close to Kabbalistic concept and they believe in it much more. Therefore, they're much more in tune to that, and therefore they have much more dreams, and it is usually very real. I know a lot of people who told me someone came to me and they said this is going to happen, and it happened. It's real. Yeah, you have to find what's the message. Yes.
Very happy in life and have everything, but they don't know what's their meaning in life. What do they do?
They're happy. That's not true happiness. They're going to maybe feel happy externally, but you cannot really truly happy if you didn't find your mission about meaning you're not see, there's a difference between happy and being comfortable with life. Being happy is like you're on a mission. You're a bulldozer. You just give and do what you're supposed to do, and you get so much pleasure out of it because you know what you're doing. You're just giving and giving to the world, coming closer and closer to God through what you do. If you don't know what's your mission, you're a little bit lost because you're just doing there, but you don't know where it's leading you. You don't know if you're perfecting yourself.
What if being good and helping others makes you happy?
Yes, because that's an energy that increases as you do it. When you give good, it's like you do the more exercise of bodybuilding you do, the more pleasure it gives you, the more adrenaline it gives you, right? So it's a build up. Same thing. The more you give, the more you're going to become a giver, and that energy, that pleasure of giving, is going to increase in you. So that's true. You can do that, but there are things that kind of everybody has to do, and it's very good. You should do it, but you have to find what's specific of you. You know, the people who feel they're not unique, they're not happy people. Every one of us has to find, how am I different than anybody in the world? How come my face is different than anybody in the world? Because I have a different soul. There's no two, except we have exact twins. Even the exact twins, sometimes a little you have to find the little difference. But every human being has a different face because he has a different mission. He has to find what's specific to me. What am I supposed to add to the world that nobody else cared? Because if you realize that, then it's amazing. You are one piece of the puzzle. You are necessary. When you pray, yes, there are millions of people praying, but when you pray, it makes a whole difference. It's missing. If you don't pray, you're missing. The world is missing something.
Is it true that if a person is going through a lot in life and is like suffering a bit, is much more holier than the person who isn't suffering because God doesn't give them challenges? It's like a snake. Doesn't give challenges because he doesn't want.
I never met someone who didn't have challenges.
More challenges than someone else. Like
okay, yeah, but that can be because in the past he challenged himself, or he doesn't look like he's suffering, and he's not suffering, but he's making extreme effort to change himself inside. So it looks like his life is easy, but if you look inside him, he's making such a hard work of control of oneself and control of emotion and change. He can give, but he's forcing himself to give. So you look like he doesn't have a real challenge, but when he gives, it's a tremendous challenge for him. So that's going to be a difference. Okay, last question.
Because there are more people now than there were before, does that mean that the soul breaks off and one part of you stays in heaven and the second part of you comes back here and gets reincarnated? Because there's more people now than there were before.
Oh, we are right. So yes, once you see, to make a job easier, the soul has the capacity to be split into a few pieces. So let's say you have to clean the cup. You divide into a few pieces and you clean the cup faster. You have few of you doing it.
So